have like a bar. Like right now, I got a red bar. I guarantee we're live right now. But if I start the show now, it'll certainly cut it off. It's like one of those can't win situations. All right, here we go. And I got to mute YouTube. Hold on. Every time my phone goes off, I'm hoping it's Scott. Here we go. See, here I am talking about the red bar on live. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, he's not showing up.
Hopefully it's nothing serious. All right.
Hopefully it's just alcoholism.
Yeah, hopefully. All right. There we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dukes of Blather. I'm Sam. That's Wick. And as always, we're brought to you by the fine folks of Leviticus Clinic in Woodstock, Georgia. They offer hope to patients with major depressive disorders, postpartum depression, bipolar depression, OCD, PTSD, and severe anxiety. Severe depression takes a huge toll on your everyday life. Ketamine therapy offers a chance for you to find hope again. And many patients have tried numerous oral medications, but only find there's little to no relief and difficult to tolerate side effects. Ketamine treatment is highly effective and safe. It's time to get off harmful medications and start living again. If you're in pain, get help from the Leviticus Clinic in Woodstock, Georgia. Get more information if this treatment's right for you at 770-850-1042. Wick, how are you doing, my friend? It's been 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks. I'm doing good. Yourself?
Yeah, it feels like forever. I was just telling Wick, we get on, like me, Wick and I, the only time we see each other is on the show. So it's like we get on here and we start talking about everything going on in our lives. And pretty soon it's like an old girlfriend's phone call. And I'm like, we got to start the show. So here we are.
Yeah, I've already had 3 wine spritzers.
Yeah, already had some wine spritzers and mimosas. Everybody's feeling good tonight. How's everything been going with you, man? Anything major?
Nothing major. No.
Nothing major is good. No news is good news. No news is good news. Nor have I had anything major going on. I wish I did, but I don't. And actually, I'm glad I don't. With all the drama in the world today, I'm glad I have very little drama in my life. And so I'm actually pretty happy about that. You know,
and we can create some drama if you need some.
Don't need any. I walk a tightrope of it, and so I anytime I make it to the other side, I don't want to tap on that landmine again. So pretty happy. Yeah. So we got a couple of things to talk about. As you know, this is a show about 2 Generation Xers that get together and just try to figure out what's going on in the world, and we got a couple of things tonight that we've got to figure out. Of course, Tom Brady's trying to figure it out too. I don't know if you saw that he's getting a lot of heat for being drunk on the parade float. Did you see the Tampa Bay doesn't do an actual parade, they do an actual boat parade? Did you see this?
Well, yeah, but isn't everybody in Tampa Bay drunk?
Everybody in Tampa Bay's drunk, but I can tell you another thing. But
then again, so everybody in Boston is drunk too.
He apparently tosses the Lombardi Trophy to another boat. I don't know if you saw this, but there's video of him not only being drunk afterwards, which I think is so not a big deal. I think he's earned the right. First of all, let's address him being drunk. He's earned the right. Yeah, who cares? I mean, the same people that are mad at him for being drunk are probably drunk all the time. Not all the time, but they probably go out and get drunk and leave their kids with a babysitter and come home stumbling drunk, on a frequent basis. And all of a sudden we want to judge Tom Brady that Tom Brady's this role model. Pick your role models carefully in 2021. Pick your role models really carefully, before you start picking them, because you can be vastly disappointed, as we've seen in life. But I just don't think it's a big deal. I think he's earned the right. I mean, he's got 7 rings. He's 40 something years old. Was he 43, 44, 42? 42?
43, I think.
43? Yeah. I mean, listen, man, at this point you deserve it. And, listen, did you think you're going to get on a boat with Rob Gronkowski and somebody wasn't going to be plastered?
Yeah, right. Exactly. I think they played drunk the whole year. Yeah, that's probably the secret of this.
Yeah. And you know what? I thought he handled it great when he came out on social media. It was like, look, what did he say? Something about avocado vodka, sometimes get away from you. I thought it was fine. It's not a big deal. He looked like he was having a blast. Listen, nobody's Tampa Bay. Okay, I get it. It's weird when cities win championships, how prestigious all of a sudden they become. It's basically a shipping city of just a port that just ships shit all over the world, and it's not really Cocoa Beach. I mean, do you hear anybody ever say I'm going to Tampa Bay for vacation? No. Nobody ever says, "Hey, where are you going where are you going for the summer break?" I'm going to Tampa Bay. No one says that.
That's why I was surprised you went there. Quite frankly, I mean, I know they had all the pieces he was looking for, but
probably was tired of the cold and went absolutely 100% 180 opposite of the cold. I would guess. And you can go, sure. I mean, you're going to sit there in California and say he could come here, especially that he was from here.
Yeah.
But listen, where's he going to go? The 49ers. He goes there. They just had their the forest fires and people couldn't even breathe in the stadium. I don't blame him for not going back to California one bit. Let's say he's a Trump supporter, everybody wants him to apologize for that, which I think is ridiculously silly. We need to I've saw several posts that, even like social media publications that Tom Brady needs to apologize for his support of Donald Trump. And
how tuned in is Tom Brady anyway to politics?
We're nitpicking things. I mean, if that's what he wants to do, let him do it. Who cares? And I would imagine that if he is pretty conservative and he was a Trump guy, he's probably not much on going to California, nor would I be. And I'm not even that big of a Trump guy. I don't want to be in California. They got a lot of problems. And
he lives there, though, doesn't he?
I don't know. I know he was born there.
I think they have a house there.
Yeah, well, there you go. He's got a house there. He can come and visit. He'll spend his money in your economy. No big deal.
Well, I saw him in Target there. So
in California, you saw Tom Brady in Target?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. But yeah.
Where do you see at the Target in West Hollywood?
See a big guy?
Oh yeah, he's a good 6'4".
Yeah. That's all good. I mean, Tampa, I think it was just the opposite of probably they would pay for him. That's probably the biggest thing. And there were probably a lot of teams that were really cautious about taking Tom Brady because they weren't sure if he was a Belichick product or, and paying that kind of money. You kind of want to guarantee that you're going to get a quarterback that can win Super Bowls. And I think at the time they were some teams were probably pretty cautious. And they had just let Winston walk. And I just think it was a perfect place for him to go. But yeah, man, you never hear anybody talk about going to Tampa. I went to Tampa one time. People who go to Tampa Bay, they leave on cruise ships. They go, They drop off their car, and they jump on a cruise ship and they leave. That's what you do in Tampa Bay. It's not a destination for a vacation.
Okay? I don't even know where it is on a map.
Right. It's in the armpit of Florida. And it's just don't get too pretentious.
Is it near St. Augustine?
No, I think it's on the other side. I think it's on the Gulf. Yeah, it's definitely
on the Gulf side. That's at St. Augustine's on the Atlantic side.
Yeah, I believe so. Take Jacksonville and put some cruise ships there, and you've got Tampa Bay. So yeah. I hate Jacksonville.
I do too.
Oh God. It's like nobody is ever from Jacksonville. Everybody's from everywhere else. Like all the worst places in America moved to Jacksonville. It's just, I don't know why it happens.
It's like the biggest welcome to Florida.
Oh my God. Like, it is a welcome to Florida. Yes. It is the stereotypical Florida town without a doubt. So, everybody was like, oh, he's throwing I guess some relative of the guy who built the Lombardi trophy was flipping out because he threw it over the bay or whatever, water from boat to boat, and it could have fallen in, and how disrespectful it was. Listen, it's his trophy. It's his trophy. If they want to do that, let them do it. I mean, I think we're a little too big on telling everybody how they need to live anyway, but good for Tom Brady, whatever. I know you'll always have a quarterback special in your heart.
Yeah, he is. I would now say Tom Brady's tied.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's
what I didn't know is till recently, I watched a Johnny Unitas documentary. He played till he was 40.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible back then.
And it was insane.
Yeah, that's really wild. But yeah, good for him. I think people need to get off his case. He's Tom Brady. Let him do what he wants to do. He's earned it at this point. No one has ever been able to do what he's done. So if he wants to go out and get drunk on avocado vodka and act a fool, then by all means, we live in a world where people are accused of doing horrible things to other people. If his biggest offense is honestly getting drunk on a boat, then go Tom Brady. That's how I feel about it. And if you feel like he's done something wrong, then you need to really find a hobby.
Who cares? And
yeah, who's worse? Is it Tom Brady or Ted Cruz?
Oh, Ted Cruz by some significant measure.
I don't know. Do you care? You care that he left?
I don't care that he left. I mean, it was idiotic Texas. Politically to do it.
Oh, yeah. Texas has this huge winter storm come through, much like Atlanta's snowpocalypse, which was 2 inches and shut down the entire city for a week. But they had a lot of snow come through, and they just weren't prepared for it. And Cruz, who's the senator, correct, of Texas, over there in Texas.
Yeah, I think he's the senior.
He's senator. Yeah. He has booked a trip to to Mexico with his family to enjoy the fun and sun. And I think I don't know, it'll probably come out that he really did do this, maybe when the storm hit. I have a hard time believing that I guess he's a senator and he has money, but I have a hard time believing that you plan a trip to Cancun, within 3 days. It just seems weird because it seems like you wouldn't know whether or not you're going to be able to get out of your driveway and all that. I think it was already pre-set up, and he was like, you know what? Perfect timing. Let's go to our trip. And people were upset. They felt like he should be there, I guess, giving out groceries, but my view is that certainly probably it's a terrible look politically, but realistically, the people that are really important into getting these things done, like your governors, your mayors, the power company, gas companies and all this other stuff, they're the people that have the priority to get things done. And I'm not sure that senators are really going to be able to move plows quicker or get electricity turned on quicker. Or maybe they can. I just don't see it. But then he has to come back, and buddy, I bet that was just miserable. Like, you get on the plane, you land, it's nice and sunny, and you're on the beach. He had a great condo. He did. He had an all-inclusive trip set up. All this shit that went on with Trump and all the impeachment.
He's like, finally, I'm going to decompress.
Listen, he just got done with the impeachment trials. I have to think that this trip was pre-planned because, he just got done with all of this stuff with Trump and the impeachment trials and all this other stuff. And he's like, you know what? It's now on Biden, the Democrats. They got things that they want to do. That's fine. I'm getting out for a little while. I'm going to get a breather. And I don't blame you. Shit. If the snowstorm doesn't come through, then by all means, please. I think I'd be gone for a little while too. Just to leave, get all that shit, and then have to jump on a plane and come right back. And I think he was like in a button up and shorts when he arrived in Texas, because he just basically got off the plane, turned around and went back on, to appease people. I don't know. I think it's it's horrible politically and probably should have canceled it, but I can see if you pre-planned that, why you just were like, you know what, let's get out of here. Probably you're viewing your situation, and it's a state of emergency. I don't know if there is a state of emergency. There should be, and maybe you should be there for that. But I would say that the governors and mayors and utility companies bear more responsibility than the senator, wouldn't you? Or am I wrong?
No, he can't really mobilize anything as a senator.
Yeah, he's going to be tied up. He's probably in Washington. He probably would have been in Washington anyway when this is going on, I would think. So, yeah, man, good. He's trying to take that trip, man. He had to turn around and come right back.
It's probably more embarrassing for that state congressman that was calling for secession, and then a couple of weeks later, he's calling for federal funds.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and it seems to be we see a lot of hypocrisy right now, and it's crazy. But Trump, I didn't even think about it really until I even talked about Cruz. But Trump's gonna walk away from this, man? Are you quite surprised, or you think?
No, I didn't think they would get. I didn't think the impeachment was wise. I think they should have done a joint chamber censure and then
Yes,
enacted the 14th Amendment.
you said that before.
That would have gotten them everything they wanted.
Yeah, I think we want to do a dog and pony show, and I think you lost on that. I think it was not a good look. People are tired. The only people go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I think Biden killed it too. I think when they were going to call witnesses, and then suddenly they did a 180 and they decided not to call witnesses.
Right.
I think that came down from the White House.
Probably so. And if so, credit to them, man. I mean, listen, the Biden administration hasn't done anything that's made me angry yet. I'm now switched over to MSNBC. The world's great.
Everybody's just happy.
Everybody's happy. Yeah. Now I don't know what's going on Fox. If a Republican wins next time, I'll switch to Fox. I've said this over and over again. Part of my happiness in a political atmosphere is I will listen to whoever side the president is on, and everything's great. We're going to be fine. We're going to get more money, and the economy is going to recover. Everything's good. Now Fox is probably telling you that everything's going to hell in a handbasket, but I kind of surprised. I said earlier, I think it was more that needed to be done. Not needed to be done for the impeachment. I think it was just more than it needed to be. I think his chances of probably running again and winning again at his age are probably pretty slim. Doesn't mean that he won't try, but I don't think people want to go through all the tension that we've already gone through.
No, it's
just too much for a lot.
His chances would be virtually zero.
Yeah, and I think like you said, you brilliantly said, this is just a ploy to keep him from running again, and you're right. But it's also one of those things where it's like, does a guy really? He'll try, I'm sure. Will he really be successful? I highly doubt it. He's trying to start his own party. That's probably not going to go anywhere. It'll become disinteresting to people. Hopefully he catches a hint and realizes politics is just not for him. And he'll find something else to do. But yeah, I'm glad that it's over with. We'll move on.
He'll probably go Howard Hughes in the next couple of years.
Yeah, be a recluse.
He'll be like urinating in mason jars and
and then on the other end of it, you got the mayor of New York under our governor Cuomo. Yeah, he's all under after telling everybody that Trump better not show up in New York, and listen, all these guys are everybody is so hypocritical in politics right now. It's so hard to really cheer for anybody just because I feel like it's so hypocritical,
I just watched another the newest Adam Curtis documentary, and if you want to know, I encourage everybody to go on YouTube and watch everything he's ever made. It is the truth of what's going on, and I'm sure he leans left, but he doesn't give anybody any leeway really. And this one, kind of the thrust of it was the real conspiracy theories are conspiracy theories.
Speaking of conspiracy theories, Wick messages me last week, and he sends me the weirdest message asking me if I watched this Britney Spears documentary.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, this is really weird for Wick, because Wick is a pop culture guy. He knows what's going on. He's hip. But Britney Spears just would not be something that I would think would be in Wick's wheelhouse. And so I'm like, well, if Wick's telling me shit, it's got to be good. So I crank that bad boy up and find it, called Framing Britney, and it's about a conspiracy theory that she's being held captive by her father. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really fun watch. It was like an hour, 2 hour long documentary, like maybe I think it was like an episode. I think it was like an hour. And I
think it was 2.
Was it 2?
Maybe,
okay, it might have been 2 hours. Yeah, I think it was 2 hours actually. And just all the craziness that's going on in her life, man. And they got podcasts that are trying to figure out these conspiracy theories. And I don't know, by the end of it, I was pretty convinced that they were right. Honestly, at the end
I think her dad is the fucking devil.
Mm-hmm.
But I've kind
Well,
of thought that for a while. I've been kind of keeping up with this for a couple of years now.
well, let's set it up. So Britney Spears is having this, her life couldn't be any better. Life is great. And I think really, truly, I mean, I just think that it was a time, I think unfortunately for her, it was kind of like a time when, the media was really, really, really making a lot of money following celebrities around, journalists, photographers, um, videotaping. And listen, the fault lies on these publications who are paying thousands of dollars for rare pictures and trying to get pictures of somebody's kid and trying to get pictures of somebody with somebody else. And there's you probably know better than anyone, Wick, living there for a short period of time through that probably period, where it's just like paparazzi were making a ton of money. They're making tons of money following
Oh,
these celebrities around and harassing them.
oh yeah. I mean, it's I can't imagine like what she went through with that.
I
I
mean,
mean,
they're
some people get it worse than others. I don't think anybody's ever had it worse than Britney Spears.
no, and I mean there are time. I mean, it starts off with a couple of paparazzi following her around, and she really plays up for the cameras, and she poses and she talks to them, and she's nice and everything like that. And then as her popularity begins to grow and she's dating Justin Timberlake and, and all this other stuff, it begins to get even bigger to the point where like this poor girl is getting, and I mean, I know she's wealthy and I know this kind of pressure comes with fame, but I don't know that it comes at this extent where you get into your car and you cannot physically like push the gas because everybody is around, a mob's around your car and these flash bulbs are just going off. And I mean, you put it in reverse and you hit somebody, then you're sued. I mean, it is, you're watching this and you're saying, my God, this has to be one of the hardest ways to live a life. And again, like I get the money she made, I get the fame, I understand all that, but nobody really should be subjected to being harassed by 150 photographers over what yogurt she's eating. It's just unbelievable. I mean, she can't move out of parking places because she's mobbed. And I think it did make her go crazy. I really could see how in that world where you're making all this money, you're all in every magazine, your music's a big deal and your concerts are sold out and everything is just you. And this pressure of not even being able to escape, or the only place where you can be anything is probably in your own home, and who knows how safe you are there because they're hanging out outside of your home. It's just, I think she just lost it. I think it just like, boom. I think she just flipped.
Well, I think she had some pre-existing conditions, but it's certainly exacerbated by. I mean, that's an unreal existence. That's not even.
I can't fathom it. I can't even
No,
imagine. I mean,
it's not.
I have the
It's
luxury of walking out every morning in the cold right now, jumping in my car, warming it up, and leaving. I can't imagine if I could not. I mean, it's almost like Dawn of the Zombies, or like some kind of horror movie where you know here's these hundreds of people that are just mindlessly after you. And I would say it's very much Walking Deadish, or even worse, like um just some kind of zombie movie where you have no ability to escape. And if you are correct and there's some pre-existing stuff there, no wonder you pop off. No wonder you lose it. No wonder you take an umbrella to a photographer's car.
oh yeah,
And they're interviewing this photographer who thinks that for some reason he is this cool on this level with Brittany, where
oh yeah, and he just comes across as
yeah, he can just
so smug.
run up to her car and start flashing, and he's concerned about her. He knows that she's not. He's been photographer. He's been taking pictures of her for years,
Mhm.
and he can tell something's wrong now. This is not the same Brittany. So as he's flashing his camera in her face, he's like, "Brittany, are you okay?"
Yeah,
And that's his concern for her. And the truth is like, you don't care. You want her to do something. You want her to say something that you can catch because you're going to try to trick her, manipulate her into thinking that you really give a shit. And then you're going to sell that.
Of
And it's
course.
like, you weren't going to sit there and like say, you know what, I don't think we should
I love when
release
they try
this
to
stuff.
defend themselves.
Yeah. I mean, it was, and then
Mhm.
his car got beat to shit with an umbrella, and deservingly so, in my opinion. I'm sure she had to pay for it. But, and then, she gets married to this weird dude, and, they have kids, dancer, loser guy that I don't think has ever held a job,
No.
and they have kids. And I think she really does love her kids. And the next part of the story is that basically, because she had this breakdown, now he's in the catbird seat. He's saying, hey, you can't see the kids because I don't know that you're mentally stable. And maybe he's genuinely thinking that. I can't put the in his mouth, but I'm sure that there was some manipulative, jab there. And of course he made a lot of money off that divorce. And of course she's going up to his gated house that is paid for by her. And she's ringing the bell and trying to get her kids, and he's saying no, and he's got a restraining order and all this other stuff. And so I think her father comes along at that point and says, hey, look, I'll get you with your kids. I'll get the kids. I'll be able to work a way for you to be able to get some parental guardianship over the children, but you got to sign over your life to me. And basically she does it because I think she's in a like mental health facility, and apparently he's just kept her under wraps. And she she was doing a Vegas thing for a while, and it looked like things were going good with that. But I knew something, like I didn't know what to believe, Wick, and I'm going to ask you about this point in the documentary. I didn't know really what to believe about it until she renews her hotel contract to be exclusively in Las Vegas, in a Las Vegas hotel. And she's supposed to show up, do a number, take interviews, and say hi to people. And they introduce her, she comes out and she goes straight to her car and leaves. And that's the moment where I was like, she's going to tell everybody to fuck off. She's not going to do this performance. She's not going to perform at this hotel. She's going to
No.
lock down. And it seemed like that was a big, big, big turning point, because they said she was making like $1 million a week before that at the hotel, at the residency. Because I think at residency, don't they give you like a place to live? You get like a suite in a hotel,
Hmm.
and then they're paying you, so much a week on ticket sales. I think she was making $1 million a week, was being deposited. And then her dad was getting like 1 or 2% of that a week. And so, she was selling out the residency. And so she comes in, another hotel wants to take her because she's financially giving money to the hotel. And she's like, yeah, she comes out, she introduced her on stage, Brittany, Brittany bitch. And then she walks straight to her car, gets in it and drives. And I was like, or her limo. And I was like, yep, yep. And she walked right past the interviewer and everybody else. And I was like, yep, she's going to tell them to screw off.
That was just
Yep. And she did. She didn't show up for the residency and they canceled it. And I think that was a shot at her dad. And I don't know. But all of this comes from, this is the setup for the main documentary, which is all of her fans who, because she's been now after that out of the public eye, going to several mental health facilities and rehabs and whatnot. Who knows if she was supposed to be in any of those? But they come across watching her Instagram, and her Instagram is nutty. Do you follow her?
but I've seen some of them.
It's weird, dude. It is weird. She doesn't look the same at all. She looks bad. And it doesn't even look like her. Like if somebody said that's not Brittany, I would almost believe it. Like it just doesn't look like her. Like it is, but man, you could totally tell me it's not her. And she gives these weird like Instagram videos and stuff like that are just like almost like she's being captive, like it'll be weird. It'll be like her like doing some kind of fashion show with some shit she got from Fashion Bug. Like it's not even shit that looks like it was expensive. It looks like trailer park garb. And she's posing and all this other stuff and walking around and acting like she's half of her out of her mind. I don't know if she's being drugged or not, but
Well, I'm sure she's medicated
She
for
probably
her.
is heavily medicated. Yeah, probably heavily medicated.
Well, I mean, if she does have mental health concerns, that's the issue. Is her father's still parading her out there when
Sure.
she's already made plenty of money? If
Yeah,
he
and
was
I mean
really concerned about her mental health,
she's
he
going to
would.
continue to make money off of things that she's done in the past too. So listen, I don't doubt that he's probably crushing up some lithium and all that in her mimosas and serving them to her in the morning and being like, drink it up,
Well,
and
if she's bipolar, she needs it.
yeah.
But he's
But I,
probably,
you know,
who knows what he's doing. What is her net worth anyway?
Brittany's net worth today, it's going to be a high. It is 60 million, which is a lot lower.
That's way lower than I thought it was.
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah,
That's unusual.
yeah, I thought it'd be more, but and then that's not really what they probably have. I'm almost always curious when you see these net worth situations, how much um people really have in their bank account and how much of it is in like investments, or it seems like you'd be really stupid to have a lot of that in liquid money. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
that's the thing is you would imagine, if they've had money for a while, it's going to be a lot more just on the
yeah,
compound interest.
right. If they're smart with it. I
Yeah.
mean, you could be Nicolas Cage too and completely just blow it. But like we talked about with Johnny Depp in the past, it's like what's broke to them is not really broke. I mean, what's broke to them is they go from, if she were to go from 60 million to 15 million, she'd be broke. And it's not necessarily being broke. I mean, I know what that looks like. It's not 15 million,
No.
more like $15. But it's just I always kind of curious. Like I would love to see celebrity bank accounts. I
Like
bet
how
there's
much they,
probably six figures, probably, wouldn't you say? And then the rest of it's in some kind of investment that pays them.
I,
'Cause
I would imagine, yeah, that's got to
the
be
whole
like,
thing about wealthy people, like this is what I try to explain to somebody the other day. The thing about wealthy people is that they don't have millions of dollars at their fingertips to just use. They
no,
have,
that's going through like, financial planners and
yeah,
management companies. And
they look, you can get, I mean, not to get into investment stuff because I don't really know that much, but you can get a bond which is guaranteed by the government and it pays you 6% a year. And if you've got 7 million in bonds, you're hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. It's coming to you, guaranteed
yeah,
by the government. And anybody can do that. It's not just that, but that's how a lot of people live financially. Is they have money, they throw them in a 6-year bond, and they know they're going to get 6% back. And so, it's not really like they have cash at their fingertips that they're just doing whatever they want with. But I would love to see like a bank account, like a Brad Pitt bank account's probably what, 200,000 or 300,000 in the checking account and in the debit card. You think more?
probably more.
Probably more. Are we hitting 1 million in the checking account?
Probably.
Yeah. Nope. Probably a lot though.
I remember hearing uh, Kevin Costner was on some morning radio show in LA, and they asked him how much money he had in his wallet. He's like, I don't know. And they were like, just count it and see. And he had $3,000
in his wallet.
in his wallet. Yeah.
The only time I had $3,000 in my wallet, I bought a used car. That's the only time I've ever had that kind of money in my wallet. I had it for a total amount of 1 hour. Yeah. I mean, I
don't think people really appreciate how much money just $10 million is.
No, listen, you can live on $2 million for the rest of your life.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah,
if you do it right,
you really. I mean, I think
you can live on $1 million.
Yeah, you would. I think I figured it out one time. Just in the safest way of investing it, you could have about 60 grand a year just on 2 million. I think it was that I figured, and that's not bad. I mean, if you don't have anything else going on, you're just kind of chilling
the
out.
Interest.
Yeah, just six grand a month is not bad money, man. Well, a little less than that, but it's not
that's
bad
a bad
money,
year.
Yeah, that's probably a bad year.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2 million. Yeah, you don't need $8 million to retire comfortably. 2 million will do it. That's a lot of money still, though. That's lotto money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the people like Brittany, who knows what's going on with that. But then there's they have this court case, and she's actively now trying to get her dad off of it, and it sounds like that they're trying to make it happen, but he's got all these little clad iron things in this deal where he still controls her life, and he's still on it, but all these fans, man, it's nuts, how all these fans have this conspiracy theory, and it just might be right this time. It might just be
Yeah.
correct.
I mean, some conspiracy theories are true, others are not.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, you think more are true or false?
False for sure.
Yeah.
And I think people start cross pollinating them, and it gets really wacky.
I think people get bored. I think
In
people
fact,
they just get bored
just
with
bored.
life. Yeah, and it's like it's time.
And they're looking for some kind of order.
It's time to. Yeah, yeah, and I think it's just like I think it's fun, and it's also great to have a reason that to believe that things are rigged against you. It's because there's a conspiracy, and really
Listen
it's
to
just
this.
because you're lazy.
There was, yeah, exactly. There was in the documentary I was mentioning earlier. There were these two guys in the 50s that started a movement. It was probably largely based in humanism, but they believed that conspiracy theories were bad for people, and they wanted to prove how bad they were psychically for people. And so they planted a story, an ad in Playboy magazine that said the Illuminati was secretly controlling world finance. That's how it began. That's how the Illuminati, to this day, that is how the Illuminati conspiracy began.
That's nuts, dude.
Dudes trying with all, in all their clumsiness to send up conspiracy theories.
And here we are.
It's 70 years later.
It is crazy. Another conspiracy theory we can talk about is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Got a nominee.
Let's break this down.
Yeah. Now, how many people do you get to vote on? I don't really know. You get to vote on 7?
I think it's 7.
So you gotta nominate 7 people. I'm one of these folks, and I'll take the heat for it. It's okay. I'll take the heat for it.
Mm-hmm.
I have zero issue with a R&B hip hop Hall of Fame.
No.
I have no issue
rock and roll.
with blues people being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame whatsoever, because rock and roll is based on blues.
Blues, yeah.
I have no issue with people who have a rock type of sound that may not be heavy being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because I think rock and roll has a grand, large definition. But I really have issue with what they're really pushing for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I think it should be a little insulting for some of the people that they're trying to get in, just for the fact that, why, maybe there is, and I'm not aware of it, but why isn't there an R&B Hall of Fame or a hip hop R&B Hall of Fame? There should be. There absolutely 100% should be. It should be just as popular as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But I take issue when I look at this list. Well, let me ask you this. You're looking at the list. What's the biggest name that sticks out to you that you just say, I don't know about this?
The biggest, wow. Well, there's a couple in here that I think already should be in.
Yeah.
Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters, really?
They're not Rock and Roll Hall of Fame worthy.
Mary J. Blige. I just don't see it. Fantastic singer. It has nothing to do with race or it has to do with what we're talking about, which is rock and roll. And I get that people say, well, rock and roll is a vast, large, and I even said that. But to me, the vastness is blues, country rock, all the way up. I don't think that R&B or top, pop or anything like that is rock and roll worthy. Not that it's not worthy, it's not rock and roll categorized to me. If I were to walk into a record store that doesn't exist anymore, I would not find Mary J. Blige under any of the rock genre or subcategories whatsoever.
They almost need to change the name of it now. It's
just make it the music rock and roll
Pop Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Music Hall of Fame or whatever. Mary J. Blige, I don't understand. I really don't understand that. Jay-Z, I don't understand. I didn't understand Tupac and Biggie. I can understand Shaka Khan. Is it? Let me just make sure it's the right person. Fela Kuti or Katu. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Is an African instrumentalist.
They always put one of those in there.
Yeah. I mean, I get that you need to do that because you have to appease people, but it's a waste. If he gets in, it's a waste. Not a waste. I want to word it correctly, but I think for what you started to do in this rock and roll thing, it's just some of this is just silly.
Well, what about Devo?
Devo, I would not put in.
No, I think they should already be in.
Okay, but see, I also think that Jane's Addiction not being on this list is a shame because I think Jane's Addiction.
Oh well, if we go down that road, yeah. I mean, the Smiths haven't even been nominated yet. Joy Division has not been nominated.
Yeah.
I think I agree with Henry Rollins. When the dust settles, Joy Division is going to be way, way up there.
I'm a little shocked that the New York Dolls is just now getting in here.
I know
their influence. Now, I'm not a New York Dolls guy, but their influence on rock and roll is pretty incredible.
It's huge. Yeah.
There's so many bands that cite them as an influence. And I don't know that they're that good, but I mean, just for the fact that they're influential, just like I think James.
I mean, just for being at the forefront of punk rock.
I'll always say that, and I don't know if we've argued this or not, and that's not why I'm saying it, but I've always felt like Jane's Addiction is a major cog in the piece of alternative music.
Have they not even been nominated yet?
They were on the list 2 years ago, and now they're just dumped. So they didn't get in they got the votes, but they didn't get in. But I would probably
Rage Against the Machine.
That's tough for me. And not because of what they play. I mean, not because of their politics. Man, they weren't really the first at what they did. Number one. Number two, their reign wasn't that long.
No.
This is who I say okay to. Tina Turner.
Yeah, okay? Without a doubt.
Tina Turner, 100%. So before you jump on me about Mary J. Blige, understand Tina Turner gets my vote. So understand where I'm coming from here. I'm going to throw the New York Dolls in just because
absolutely.
I've always heard how much they've influenced rock music.
I mean, just
Iron Maiden should have been here a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Iron Maiden is like the Judas Priest type of thing. They should have been there way before they were. Like Kiss should have been there a long time ago. Van Halen should have been there a long time ago.
Yeah, Van Halen took a weirdly long time.
Yeah. So, but then you have Jay-Z and LL Cool J here, who had long careers.
And even from the hip hop point of view, Jay-Z, yes. LL Cool J.
I would put in LL Cool J over Jay-Z.
Over Jay-Z.
He's been around for so long.
Yeah, but Jay-Z was like
Jay-Z's huge.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't put Jay-Z in. I would go Foo Fighters. I would.
Really?
Yeah, I just think that when you talk about popularity, it's hard to find.
That shouldn't be a reason.
But it has some pull. I mean, it has to have some pull. You have to have people that you've heard of. Yeah, I think they've run radio for quite some time. I mean, if you think of longevity, they definitely have it. They definitely have the record sales, I believe. They definitely have the pedigree. Um, and I also think that I think if you're putting in, I think if you're putting in alternative bands, I think Foo Fighters is deserving of it. If Pearl Jam's there, I think Foo Fighters is definitely deserves to be there. So, but you know how I feel about Pearl Jam. And I'm not going to say
Yeah,
Pearl
but
Jam doesn't. Well, I'm not going to say Pearl Jam doesn't deserve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'll actually say that they do. But if you're going to put them in and you're going to argue that the Foo Fighters shouldn't, I have a little bit of an issue with that because I almost view them very similar. In fact, that they both last a very long time and they had a lot of radio play. In fact, I would argue that probably the Foo Fighters had a
they've
better
had
radio
more,
play record. Yeah.
but Pearl Jam is more inventive than Foo Fighters.
Were they? I mean, are they that
You heard their
much
new
different than
album?
Soundgarden? Are
Man.
they that much different from Stone Temple Pilots? I mean, a lot of that stuff sounded a lot.
Oh, well, Stone Temple Pilots ripped off Pearl Jam. And
see, I don't feel that way.
it was
I
like,
never understood the comparison.
is Scott Weiland trying to be Eddie Vedder or
No, I think
Lane
Scott
Lane
Weiland
Staley?
is. Listen, I think Scott Weiland's 100 times a lyricist not lyricist, singer. I would say that probably Eddie Vedder is a better lyricist. I like his lyrics are very good, but no.
More vocal range than Eddie
Scott
Vedder?
Weiland's probably one of the greatest singers from our generation, in my opinion.
Actually, I think Lane Staley is a better singer than both of them.
Lane Staley, I would still say that I'm a Scott Weiland guy on complete just vocals. I think that the most unique singer in our generation of our entire generation is Lane Staley. That is, there will never be. You can find somebody that'll sing like Scott Weiland. You can find people that sing like Scott Weiland. You're not going to find many people and I mean, I know they got a replacement, but Lane Staley was.
I think we're forgetting really Mike. I think we're forgetting Mike Patton here, though.
But do you put Faith No More on this list?
No, but if you're talking about great singers, nobody's even close. He's got a broader. He's got a greater range.
Yeah, you got to go Mike Patton as far as vocalist, sure, but I wouldn't put Eddie Vedder anywhere near that. I mean, Jesus, the guy from Creed did Eddie Vedder just as good as Eddie Vedder did Eddie Vedder.
See, that's the thing, though. Everybody in the '90s tried to sound like Eddie Vedder. That influence was.
But does that enormous. Make them? Does that make even him Scott Weiland a great vocalist?
Influence, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got pipes.
But was Eddie Vedder trying to copy, say, Kurt Cobain?
Vocally, no. I mean, they're very.
Kurt Cobain had a very rusty voice.
Well, then we get into discussion of how valuable is a great voice anyway. I mean, having a unique voice is probably more important.
Probably. Okay, so let's go through this. I'm gonna go Foo Fighters. I'm going 110%, 140%, all in on the Go-Go's.
Absolutely, no question about it.
The Go-Go's. I'll take Foo Fighters. I'm taking Iron Maiden. I don't give a shit.
Maiden, yeah, absolutely.
To think that Maiden is not here already is just insulting. They always have these bands every year they put up in this vote, and you wonder to yourself, how in the hell are they not? Kiss. I don't even remember. I don't think did they cancel last year? I think they canceled it last year. But Kiss took entirely too long. Judas Priest took entirely too long. And here's Iron Maiden. It's almost like they kind of shit on them.
Well, you have to remember too that this is ran by Jan Winter and Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Well, and they were never on board with metal ever.
Okay. That's fair. You know a little bit more than I do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Iron Maiden there. Let's see. I've got 1, 2, 3. Give me the New York Dolls at 4. Tina Turner at 5 all day.
Devo for just electronica.
All right, I'll throw in Devo for 6. I'll agree with that. Maybe LL Cool J at 7, but I go against what I feel. And going against what I feel, I mean, as much as I don't want Rage Against the Machine, I don't think it's their time. I'm probably voting Rage Against the Machine just because I'm a purist with this. Tina Turner is rock and roll. Tina Turner is rock and roll.
But she's already in with
That's
Ike
fine.
and
Her
Ike and
solo
Tina.
career was more rock and roll than her career with Ike. I'm
I
not
don't
putting
know.
I'm not
There's
putting
a.
Dionne Warwick in. What in
It's
the
just
hell?
it's just
That is
not rock and roll.
insulting. That's insulting.
um,
Maybe Todd Rundgren, but I think he's always been on the list and nobody ever votes for him because I'm not sure they know what Todd Rundgren has ever done. Oh my God, that poor guy's always on the
Kate,
list. Everybody's like,
Kate
I don't know
Bush.
who he is.
Kate Bush.
I don't know Kate Bush.
That the Wuthering Heights song. She's kind of like she was Tori Amos before Tori Amos.
Okay, no, I would reject that. And the battle of who should be on this,
And
who should be in the Hall
Carol
of Fame.
King. Carol King, just because Tapestry, like that record invented soft rock.
Are we talking about the Carol King who wrote a ton of shit? There's a female writer who wrote a ton of music, and I want to say it was Carol King.
She did write a ton of music
that other people sang.
Yeah. She's You've Got a Friend. It's too, I mean, like, she's not my gig, but I mean, there's, after that, all soft rock, all like, what's his name?
I may trade your Carol.
All the
I may trade your Kate Bush for Shaka Khan.
Shaka Khan.
Yeah, sure, why not? But I'm saying no to Mary J. Blige. No offense to her. I'm not saying no to Dionne Warwick. Look, these are great, talented artists. I just don't. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to me, it's just. I can't say yes. Although Jay-Z is really in there, man. I mean,
Jay-Z's going to get in.
I'm a purist. Jay-Z's getting in. Jay-Z's. Yeah. So let's talk about the locks. Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Foo Fighters.
Yeah. Tina Turner.
Better be. They're going to try to enter. They're going to try to win over the metal crowd with Rage Against the Machine.
I think Maiden gets in.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One of them's getting in, the other one's not.
Yeah, I think it better be Maiden over Rage Against the Machine.
I just have a feeling it's going to be Rage.
Rage Against the Machine has nothing on Iron Maiden.
I agree, nothing. But I'm just saying, I think it'll be Rage, and you think it'll be Iron Maiden. I think we agree that it should be Iron Maiden. But
I mean, Iron Maiden is metal. I mean, if you ask anybody that grew up listening to metal, nobody disses Iron Maiden.
Do you know? And nobody. This is for people who don't listen to Iron Maiden, you can almost follow if you want to enjoy history. Iron Maiden will help you learn history.
It's like the History Channel.
Yeah. Somebody laid out. I have to find it sometime and send it to you. But somebody laid out exactly like their world history map of different Iron Maiden songs. Yeah, all the way from the beginning of man. Like they have a song about the beginning of man, and all the way through to like World War II, of course, and but in between those two things, there's just historic references left and right. Just incredible. I mean, they're so unique. Iron Maiden, listen, Iron Maiden, for the people who don't know, that is a unique ass band, dude. For their lyrics, for their
there's
sound,
nothing else like them.
There's nothing like them ever. Ever. There will never be anything like Iron Maiden. So I think Foo Fighters, the Go-Go's should be a lock. I don't think you go against the Go-Go's here, do you?
They should be a lock. They may not get in though.
I don't see how you don't do that.
They weren't big enough, long enough.
The first commercial all-female rock band, and
who came from punk rock. I mean, they weren't.
Yeah, they did.
They were not put together by a record company. You know, they weren't like.
We're not talking about the Bengals.
No,
we're talking the Go-Go's. These are the originals.
Listen, go and watch on YouTube. Watch what they sounded like before they were punk rock.
Yeah. So I would go Devo, Foo Fighters. I'm going to give it to the Go-Go's, Iron Maiden.
Who's the headliner?
Tina Turner. Who's the headliner? Tina Turner.
Yeah.
I would think.
In my world, it's Maiden.
Right. But do you think they'll play any songs? I mean, they'll play.
When Rush got in, they were the headliner, weren't they?
They were. How do you put Rush in and not put in Iron Maiden though?
Oh man, exactly.
I'm trying to.
I mean,
think,
they hold up. They hold up. I mean, look at all these other people.
2020 ballot was canceled. I want to say, but let's see who was on that 2020 vote. Okay, it's the same people.
It's the same.
Same people.
They're kind of running out of giants.
Well, I don't know. Let's look at 2019.
I mean, what happens after they get everybody? After they get Maiden in, they get Tina Turner in, they get all these. I mean, it's going to get to the point where some of these bands are going to be offended they didn't get in earlier and will reject it.
So in 2019, all right. So this is saying the 2020 nominees, but it must be the 2019. Pat Benatar, Dave Matthews Band, please. No.
Why are they even there?
Depeche Mode?
Yes.
Doobie Brothers. Whitney Houston got in.
Yeah.
Yeah, see? Judas Priest, I think, got in. Or did they not? Can't remember. Kraftwerk, MC5, Motorhead.
All three of them. Yes, absolutely.
And 9 Inch Nails. I don't think so.
They got in, though.
Yeah, but I think it's too soon. Notorious B.I.G. Shaka Khan was on another list then. Todd Rundgren. Soundgarden.
I don't think Soundgarden deserves it.
I don't think so. I don't think so either. Thin Lizzy. Yeah. Give me Thin Lizzy. Yeah. Although I wish I could find out who actually got in. I'm very unprepared for this. And then the 2018, just for conversation here, was let's see. Rage Against the Machine was 2018, so they didn't get in. Eurythmics, Bon Jovi. I'm pretty sure Bon Jovi and Radiohead got in.
Yeah.
Judas Priest, Dire Straits, Kate Bush, the Moody Blues. Others on the list were the Cars, Depeche Mode, Jay Giles Band, LL Cool J. So he's been snubbed a couple of times. MC5, the Meters, Rufus, Shaka Khan, and the Zombies. So they have snubbed a couple of these guys that are on the and ladies that are on the list now. (2017).
You know who's surprising has not been nominated yet to me? Hole.
Who's that? Hole? You can see how I feel about that one.
Those first two records are good, man. Even
I saw them live.
Yeah, I did too.
It was rough. Let's see who the greatest rock and roll. The 20. All right, so this should be up to date. The 20. All right, let's see. The worst Hall of Fame snubs. Let's see. Warren Zevon, Television.
Warren Zevon should be in.
Nick Drake. These are snubs, by the way.
Yes.
Iron Maiden.
Yes.
Rage Against the Machine.
No.
New Order.
Yes, absolutely yes.
Pixies.
Absolutely yes.
Devo.
Mm-hmm.
Pat Benatar. Sonic Youth. No.
That's a tough one.
No. Brian Eno.
Yes.
Kate Bush. Bjork. Agree. Well, maybe not.
Probably, yeah.
Soundgarden. The Smiths.
Mm-hmm.
Kraftwerk. John Coltrane.
Yes, absolutely. Not even.
Joy Division.
Yes.
Outkast.
Yes.
Tina Turner.
Yeah, Outkast has not been nominated, have they?
Nope. The biggest. So hopefully Tina Turner will get in because she's probably the worst snub. Outkast is on the list.
Outkast is a massive snub. Like that's a bewildering. The bewildering ones to me that should be no brainers are the Smiths, Joy Division, and Outkast.
Pat Benatar. No, definitely Iron Maiden. I don't know about Nick
Definitely.
Drake.
Yeah, that was a big record. That's a very influential. Big Star should be in there for sure. I mean, they
Yeah,
invented
yeah. I mean,
Big Star invented alternative.
yeah. I mean, it is weird. I'm just a purist. I feel like if it's the Rock and Roll of Fame, let's make it rock and roll. I do consider Tina Turner rock and roll, so don't hate me. I just don't consider Mary J. Blige rock and roll. Jay Z, I could see because I could see Jay Z and LL Cool J. I could see the argument, but I don't think Notorious B.I.G. was truly rock and roll. Nor do I figure Tupac to
Well,
be.
they need to change the name of it because it's not about rock and roll anymore, and it hasn't been for a while. But I mean, like, Coltrane, that's not rock and roll.
Yeah,
It should just be the Music Hall of Fame or Pop Music Hall of Fame.
yeah. I just well, then but then though, then you go against what we said, which is does Iron Maiden get into a pop music Hall of Fame?
It's popular music. I mean, it's not what we consider pop, but it's popular music.
Yeah, I mean,
You've sold enough records.
yeah, and that's the other thing too. How much is record sold going to count into pop culture, right?
I mean, they were never on the radio. They're probably they were never even on classic rock radio.
Yeah, I mean,
Which I remember being in high school going, why isn't Iron Maiden on 96 Rock?
well, I remember people telling stories about how they had to beg radio stations to play Kiss in the '70s because radio stations wouldn't play it. Radio is so dominated by record companies. You know what I mean? And what they will
Well,
and
who's
won't
that?
allow.
Iron Maiden's on Capitol, aren't they?
They were, yeah. I don't know if they still are. A lot of those bands have moved off of it.
Yeah. I mean, but how did Iron Maiden never, you know, even crack a radio station anywhere in America?
It is weird. I mean, you got to think that probably Iron Maiden is probably what majorly found it through word of mouth.
Yeah, I guess. I
Just
mean,
touring.
they were playing arenas in the early '80s and never stopped.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that probably people go to concerts and they saw them and realize that they were something different. And there's a lot of love for Iron Maiden, man. I mean, a lot of people out there love Iron Maiden. It's
They headline Rock in Rio. That's how big they are.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
I mean, they're up
Something
there
else.
they're up there with U2. I mean, bands like that headline festivals that large. And that may be the biggest festival in the world.
Speaking of music, too, there were 2 events that happened in February that I get updates on. Did you know that in 2006, iTunes sold its billionth music download?
Wow.
And it's funny because I was watching a documentary on, and you've seen it too, all things must pass or something like that.
Yeah.
About Tower Records. And they were having a discussion there about like what happened to basically Tower Records and record stores in general. I found it interesting, and I don't know if you picked up on this or not, but they said basically what killed record stores was not Napster. It wasn't the downloading. It was the removal of singles. It was the fact that record companies went away from doing the 99-cent single and only sold albums because they figured they would get more money for a $13 CD than they would from a dollar single.
Yeah, and they stopped that in like the mid '90s, didn't they?
Right. Yep. And that's when singles stopped being sold and it became by the record and not by the single. And I found that interesting because I don't remember singles not being sold anymore.
Yeah,
but
it kind of
just happened in the
because
middle
I
of the
didn't really
night.
buy them.
I didn't really buy singles either. The only time I would buy a single was when I found the single, and Smashing Pumpkins was really good with this, where they gave you like B-sides and you got extra versions of different songs. And like I remember getting was it the Zero single by Smashing Pumpkins? And on that was Rotten Apples, which is a great song. Or not Rotten Apples. Was it Rotten Apples? I don't remember. And like 3 other songs that were amazing songs that could have been on an album. But and I think they later did put a couple of those songs on an album. But I mean, you got like 4 songs for the one single. And I was like, you know what? This is worth $1 all day. This is stuff that's not even on, this is stuff that's not even on the albums. And when I heard the first one, it was amazing. I was like, this is fantastic. And like I said, it had like 4 songs on it. And it was like another version of something else, and acoustic version of something. And it was like well worth the dollar. But there were a lot of times too where you would pay for a single and you got just that song and like a remix of that song. And it was like, all right, but they were saying that the proof of that is that now people will pay 99 cents for one song digitally. So what they're saying is that if people are doing it now, in the 21st century, then certainly record stores could have sold singles and probably still had some business going, because people would buy the singles and then they buy the album too. But I just find that really interesting that they say, look, the failure of the recording industry and music stores or record stores in general was just the fact that they went away from 99-cent singles. And maybe it's true when you're looking at iTunes in 2006. That was a long time ago, dude. What 14 years ago?
Yeah.
14 years ago, they sold the billionth music download for $1. I mean,
1 billion.
And they even know who it was. It was a 16-year-old named Alex who bought Speed of Sound by Coldplay. That was the 1 billionth download.
Of all songs.
Of all songs, it's Speed of Sound by Coldplay. But anyway.
See, they'll get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like first ballot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's coming. It's coming. Now, the other thing that I discovered too, I want to ask you this, is I'm trying to see, in 1996, VH1 debuts Storytellers. Now, my question for you is, what's your favorite episode of Storytellers, and why is it REM?
It's not REM.
It's not REM, liar.
No,
you're such
it's
a liar.
not. It's Johnny Cash.
So let's look at who they had in Storytellers. There's a pretty long list here. I'll just go over who: Jackson Browne, Elvis Costello, Sting, Black Crowes, Etheridge, Brooks, Bee Gees, James Taylor, Phil Collins, Counting Crows did one, Bill Joel, Elton John, Paul Simon. Quite a list, man. Rod Stewart, Culture Club, Bonnie Raitt, Ringo Starr. How does I guess he does Beatles stuff, right?
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Hanson does a Storytellers.
Because if there's anything like couldn't be more interested in, it's how they put together their songs when they were 13.
So this is the list that goes around Hanson. Bonnie Raitt, Ringo Starr, who probably told a ton of, and I think he was doing it. And I think I saw his, and it was really interesting because I think he was, and correct me if I'm wrong, Beatles fans, but I believe he's right-handed playing a left-handed drum set, or either he's left-handed playing a right-handed drum set. But anyway, he was talking about, he was actually getting a ton of credit for actually being a decent drummer, where he's gotten a lot of shit for it, because he actually has to reverse how an average drummer does their stuff. Like I think he's left-handed on a right-handed drum or something like that, where everything is in a different place, and he has to use his weakest arm to actually do a lot of fills. And they were saying, that he actually deserves a ton of credit. Of course, it also asks the question, why not just get a drum set that's right for you? Then you don't have to play.
He was probably so poor that he learned to play.
Probably at the time, sure. Yeah, sure, at the time.
And he can't reverse his system. You know,
Yeah, probably not. It's too late in the game. Ringo Starr is Hanson's sandwiched by Ringo Starr and Stevie Nicks. How does that happen? How does Hanson get on before Stevie Nicks? I mean,
very good
that's mind
question.
blowing. Sheryl Crow, Natalie Merchant. I mean, what's she going to tell us? John Mellencamp, Meatloaf, REM is in 1998. Then you got Tori Amos, Dave Matthews, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, another good one. Tom Waits, Jewel, The Pretenders. A lot
No,
of
I didn't see the Tom Waits one. I would love that. Would be the best stories by far.
yeah, The
By far.
Pretenders. Alanis Morissette, Def Leppard, David Bowie was a
I didn't
good
even
one.
know he did one.
Yeah, it was really good. Kravitz, Wyclef Jean, Eurythmics. Then you got like Crosby, Stills, and Nash and Steely Dan. And I got to say something. I am the biggest Steely Dan fan. I love Steely Dan. I absolutely love them. There's something about when I was young, they were major like top 40 hit drivers. I mean, their songs bring me great joy when I hear them. And I don't know what it is, but like even like Hey 19, I mean, I love that freaking song, dude. I play it all the time. Don Henley, Pete Townsend, Stone Temple Pilots, Bon Jovi, no doubt. Duran Duran, the Smashing Pumpkins. The
I didn't know
Doors.
the Pumpkins did one.
Yeah, the Doors get together, and I think that's where they have the singer from the Cult, Stephen Asbury.
Ian Asbury.
Yeah. Which I think they did one where it was Riders of the Storm, and I want to say that the guy who plays keyboards, and I'm sorry I don't really know these guys because I'm not a big. Are you a big Doors guy?
No, but I know that's Ray Manzarek, and I don't like the Doors. No,
I find the Doors very boring. Do you? I think it's a little too too poetic for me.
well, I think he's a poser as a poet.
You think he's full of shit?
Yeah,
Yeah, I could see that. But he was talking about Riders of the Storm, which I think is one of the creepiest intros to a song.
I actually do like that song, but it's because I thought it's what opens Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, it is just one of the like when I hear that opening and the thunder,
Yeah,
and the rain, it's just and he sings it very creepily. Like there's something about Riders of the Storm that sets the mood, and it's a very awkward, creepy. It's a great song that sets the mood that it wants to set. It absolutely accomplishes that. But I am not a Doors person at all. I find them very boring. I did like L.A. Woman.
Those are the only two songs I would
Riders of the
not
Storm.
turn.
Matchbox 20. Why are they here? No clue. Electric Light Orchestra. I never realized how many songs they did. Like I didn't realize that a lot of their songs were songs on the radio. It's a lot like Kansas. Like I hear
You're
a
like,
song,
oh, that's who that is. Yeah,
yeah, I didn't know that was Electric Light Orchestra. Billy Idol, Train. I don't know how the Train gets on there. Goo Goo Dolls, Robert Plant, Green Day, Bruce Springsteen. Are you a Bruce Springsteen guy?
not especially, but I appreciate
Not
it.
either. Yeah, I think that's it. I appreciate them. Coldplay, Dave Matthews Band comes back again for another one. I guess they didn't tell enough stories. Pearl Jam, Dixie Chicks, Jay-Z, Mary J. Blige, Snoop Dogg, Kid Rock. It goes on forever. Kanye West. Kid Rock, yeah. Which I'm sure was a lot of stories about redneck parties.
Yeah.
Let's see.
How he ripped off Rob Zombie and threw some white trash rap in there.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, now he's ripping off country music now. Let's see. ZZ Top, Foo Fighters, John Mayer, Aguilera. Let's see. I'm just trying to see if there's anybody. Death Cab for Cutie. We start getting real thin here. Jason Mraz, Nora Jones, Taylor Swift, Pink, and Ed Sheeran. Yeah, it starts getting real thin at the end. I think that's why you kind of just say, okay, let's end it here.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of these are really cool. Did you see the REM one?
Yeah, I already knew all the stories, so it didn't.
That's what I was going to say. Is it more that you kind of already knew a lot of the changes already?
Yeah.
Or the stories? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was, and it wasn't that much different from their Unplugged, really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Out of all of these, I find Sting very boring too. Um,
Oh, I didn't realize this, that at Live Aid, at the end of the Police set, they handed their instruments to U2,
oh, really?
basically
Changing up the guard.
handing the baton. Yeah.
Well, they probably knew too that they were going to be broken up soon.
Yeah, I'm not a.
How about this? Something
I
I
think
never
Every Breath You
realized.
Take's a great song, but I don't like any of their other songs.
Something I never realized, and it was said to me, and I thought, no, yeah, you're right. The Police is a jazz band, and I was like, no, really, maybe, because I see a lot of Sting as jazz. Am I wrong on that?
It's maybe a little jazz influence.
Yeah, I think them being a jazz band is probably, I think it's a jazz punk thing more than anything,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But with a lot of these bands now, you can get the high note, which is the cameo. I don't know if you saw this. High note's a cameo for bands that basically no one's listening to, and it's basically the biggest band that High Note has is Bare Naked Ladies. So you pay money to High Note, just like Cameo, and they will basically write a song write a song for you, and they will
Um,
personalize your music. They will sing you a special song on your birthday. Again, like I said, you're looking at Bare
isn't it
Naked
time to
Ladies.
break up when?
When you're doing High Note, it's time to break up. But here's the cost.
But if you were in one of those bands, are you going to stop doing that and go sell real estate?
No, but I mean, I gotta think Bare Naked Ladies has made enough money to retire. Ah, they were terrible.
You'd be surprised.
Maybe. I guess it
It
depends on
takes a
your record
long time to
contract.
make money in music.
Well, yeah, probably. It's the problem is that you get on a record contract that's not very good when you're young,
Yeah.
and then by the time your time's passed and your contract's up and you sign a new one, you get a better deal. But at the end of the day, unless you're a super group, you're probably not selling as many records anymore. I mean, how many records does Bare Naked
Oh,
Ladies probably sell over their lifetime?
doubt a
Probably.
million.
Yeah, but probably the majority of those are in the time when they probably have a really shitty contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they're in it, or where they're earning 2 cents per sell or something like that.
Yeah.
But now they're on High
And
Note.
those companies know who's going to be a one hit wonder and who's going to
Sure, because they're going to push who they want to push. They're going to push who they can while it's cheap. Bare Naked Ladies is a $300 commitment. Lisa Loeb is $250. I find this just absolutely fascinating. Let's see. I'm just trying to see who they had on there. Montel Jordan. I mean, it's not an overly impressive list. Maya from Ghetto Superstar. Wu-Tang Clan is on there, but they were sold out. I don't know how much they cost. Montel
That's sad. Oh my God, that's so sad.
Is that not sad? Montel Jordan's $100. Vertical Horizon's 150. I'm expecting to see 311 here any minute. Semisonic is $150, which is kind of sad because I actually saw Semisonic. They were a really good band. They did that song "Fascinating New Thing" and "Closing Time." Mates of State. There are a lot of stuff I've never even heard of that is on here. MC Lars, no clue. So there's a lot of people. I have to think that a lot of these bands. I mean, that's pretty much it, dude. I mean, Ghostface, Shelly, Montel Jordan, Maya. I mean, like, what are they going to do? They're going to just say hi and sing you something? I found that incredibly odd.
Especially if it's a band, they got to split up 354 ways.
It's true. And who gets the most? You know what I mean?
Yeah, are they
Like,
like quibbling over
like you get
who has the
300 bucks.
songwriting rights?
You get 300 bucks for Bare Naked Ladies, who has several members in that band, but only one of them shows up on the video and sings, oh wait, it's Ed Robertson of Bare Naked Ladies. They listed Bare Naked Ladies, but it's only
Oh
one guy from Bare Naked Ladies. They hate him for that too, because they're like, where's our cut? But does he have to give them a cut?
no,
No, I
wouldn't
wonder.
think so.
Or they're probably like, dude, don't worry about it. How much are you charging? 300? No, go ahead and do your thing, dude.
Yeah.
Just know he's probably gonna make like 300 a month. I don't see this taking off, this high note thing.
No.
It's like I said, it's Cameo, but it's musicians. It's just, I don't even know how Cameo's doing what they're doing. I really, now they're adding YouTube stars. It's just like it's weird.
Oh,
It's weird. Did you see and we might have talked about it before, but did you see the one that the Undertaker's on Cameo now?
no.
Oh, dude. It is so worth. There's a guy who has a YouTube of all of the Undertaker's cameos, which is the Undertaker's a famous wrestler who played this. Basically, they call him the Dead Man. He played a dead man, and his whole thing was rest in peace. So it's like there's actually somebody who wants to get him to do a birthday one for him. And I swear to God, dude, it's so funny. If I find it, I'm going to send it to you. But the guy's name is, what is the guy's name? It's like Sacred Scooby Doo. All right. Is the handle for this guy who's requesting this cameo from him. And so he's all in his garb. He's got his leather jacket on, which was his thing in wrestling. And he's got his hat, and he's like, and it's so awkward because he's like, Sacred Scooby Doo, I hear you're the biggest Undertaker fan of all time, and you have all of my action figures. I have to say, Sacred Scooby Doo, the Undertaker's impressed. Rest in peace. And you watch them, and every one of them is like that, where it's like some stupid like name that, some like fucking like Forever 21, Forever 21. I hear you have all of the Undertaker's collectibles. You are a true fan, but you'll never be able to beat the Undertaker. Rest in peace. Happy birthday, Lenny. I gotta send it to you because I watched him and I could not. I laughed till I cried, dude, because it was like, it was like, Danny, your wife wrote me, asked me to do this cameo for you because you just had a heart attack. And then he goes on to say, like, good thing you're not wrestling me because I would make you rest in peace. And I started laughing because like these just survived death. And you're going on about how you were going to put him in a rest in peace. I was just like, this is the freaking greatest thing ever. But it's so awkward. But I mean, I think his is $1,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Surprised.
Yeah. I mean, but I mean, like, they don't really want to do it. It's just easy money. Let me see. Undertaker's cameo is, let me just make sure. It was $1,000. Let's see. I wouldn't pay what they're asking. $1,000. $1,000. I mean, that's a lot of dough for the Undertaker to
None of that is worth it.
You think it's worth it?
I wouldn't even. No, it's not. I wouldn't even pay it for Norm Macdonald, and you know what I think about him.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. Let's see. I don't even know if these would pick up on the air. I was hoping I could find the something Scooby Doo because it's just so freaking funny. Anyway, I'll send you the link. We'll post it somewhere. But yeah, it's. Oh, I'll post it on Twitter. But yeah, it's pretty terrible. But I mean, these dudes are making $1,000 for a 30-second. I just think it's so overpriced, man. And I think the only people that are really buying these things, well, obviously somebody bought the Undertaker for $1,000.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. I mean, I haven't looked at Cameo in a while, but I would think that like Paula Abdul's $400. Lindsay Lohan's 375. I mean,
Here's a dude that'll do it for 10.
yeah, I'll send you a message for like $5. Jerry Springer's 135. I'm impressed, man. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, and you don't know half of these people. Alfonso Ribeiro. I know I'm butchering that name. 150. Um, LeVar Bell is 133, which I think is pretty surprising. Mia Hamm's 125. Wu Tang's 360. Undertaker charges more than Wu Tang. The entire group of Wu Tang.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Ric Flair's $500.
Ric Flair is half of the Undertaker.
Yep, I would do Ric Flair all day.
Oh yeah,
Sarah Palin's 250.
really?
Yep,
My,
she's still smoking. I don't care what anybody says.
I haven't seen her lately.
I don't know. She's got that whole freaking cougar thing going. I love it. Um, yeah, I would, whatever. All right. So and then my wife informed me that American Idol has started.
I thought it was. Did they bring it back? I thought it was
They did
done.
bring it back. Yeah, they brought it back, and I'm not a fan. Here's my thing with it. My wife watches it religiously, so and all I do is compare them to great singers who
Yeah.
they're not even close to. Especially when they sing the songs, like somebody will sing Queen, and you're like, God,
What are you
why even
thinking?
go there? Why would you go there? Like I'm gonna sing a Journey song, and I'm like, what, dude? You don't do it. Don't do it. I'm gonna sing Whitney Houston. Why? Why are you doing that? Like
No,
you're
sing like
not
Rod
gonna
Stewart
compare.
or
Yeah. Yeah, and I always cheer for the rock guys who are never going to be. But here's the thing.
they're always like
American,
way too like rock.
well,
Like they're trying really hard and they just come
I
up
think
douchey.
that that's the production. I think that they
Yeah.
put them in that shit, and they're like, "Here, go and parade around. Here's what a J.C. Penney's rock and roller would look like. So we're gonna
Yeah.
put you in a J.C. Penney's rock and roll. Let's see. Yeah, it's like the fake pleather pants. I mean, it's been on for, let's see, 19 seasons.
Good God.
Too long, way too long. And here's why I say it's too long.
And none of those people ever go anywhere
They
anymore.
don't. They don't. I can think of. Well, I remember. I'm trying to think here. To be fair, I mean, obviously Carrie Underwood's amazing. I saw her um when I knew that she deserved to win. I've never watched it, but everybody I've been in, every girl I've had in my life watched it. And I remember her singing. What heart song does she sing? Um, I'm trying to think here. I'm gonna look it up here. She did a heart song. Alone. By Heart. Was it Heart? I believe it was. Yes. It was amazing. Yeah, it was Alone. It was amazing. It was freaking amazing. And I hold Heart in pretty high regard. I love Heart for what they do. I don't even think they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but um, I think Nancy Wilson's amazing. And for somebody to be able to go and do what she's able to do on a TV show, I was really blown away. Probably Carrie Underwood, of course. Who's the other one that's popular now? God, tells you what I know.
Yeah. I think we're out of our wheelhouse now.
Well, no, she's on the tip of my tongue here. I'll edit all this out. And I know when I say it, I'm gonna be like, "Durr, I'm so stupid." Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. Kelly Clarkson.
Yes, Kelly Clark. You go.
Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood. But really, like I look through this list and I'm like, where I don't know any of these people. They never went anywhere. And I think like they're like I think one of them was country. I think they had a couple of country guys. But I mean honestly, like I can't name you people that really won and had any kind of major career except for like maybe like I might give you the benefit of the doubt of like 5, okay? But that's 5 out of 19 seats.
Winners.
Yeah, 19 winners. And you can
And I don't
only
even
like
think Kelly
name
Clarkson won.
and she didn't.
No.
You know the guy who won is actually the sweet guy on Dr. Pepper.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's Little Sweets. He's like, it's a sweet one for Dr. Pepper. You know what I'm talking
Really?
about?
That's him? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy who won the
The
first
little
American
tiny
Idol.
guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the one that won American Idol.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's his career. He probably makes good money being Little Sweets. Probably not a bad gig, right? But I mean, at the same
It's
time,
money. It's a career. Or
it's a career. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fault him for that. But at the same time, like, I think they're like, oh, you get $1 million record contract. Like, and you know better than anybody else. $1 million record contract might get you a song, maybe
Yeah.
get you a song, might get you a single. I mean, it's expensive to pay people to put a song together. Um, it's
Yeah.
not cheap. I
And they're
mean,
not writing their own songs. So,
yeah, I mean, and then they have a lot of these guys will write songs for them. I'm trying to see what American Idol winners get. But I'm pretty sure it's like let's see. Winners receive 250,000 and 1,000 per week while recording their first album, and 1,000 for master recordings. And the runner-up reportedly receives a prize of 87,000 and an additional 87,000 for finishing the album. So at the end of the day, yeah, you're probably getting $1 million at the end of the day. Because you're getting 250, 1,000 per week while you're recording. Well, that could probably take a couple of months. Then you're getting 1,000 per master recording, which I don't even know what that would even be. But then you're getting like roughly 160,000 for finishing the album. I mean, at the end of the day, you're probably not even really getting $1 million, Wick. You're probably really only getting what? Maybe 600, 700,000. And a lot of that's going to be eaten in probably what they're going to bill you at the end of the day, right? Because they're going to bill you something for recording a record.
oh, yeah. You have to pay a lot of that back, don't you?
Yeah, I would think that you're going to have to pay a lot of that back. And I think you're probably also going to probably get very little to no royalties.
Yeah.
And
it's one of the worst things that ever happened to music.
It is one of the worst things that ever happened to music because it's basically taking a limited pool of what commercialized music should be and parading it around as this new way of finding great music. And I think it proves when you look at the winners and how many you can even name out of 19 that it doesn't work. Right? It's completely based on the actual show and getting viewership
and covering other people's music.
Right. And paying them royalties.
Yeah.
And in fact, I would bet you anything.
Basically karaoke.
It is karaoke. And I bet you anything that American Idol basically goes to somebody like Journey and they go, hey, look, we're going to do a couple of Journey songs we want to do a Journey song on our show. They're not going to pay for it. They're going to say, here's the deal. When younger generations that watch American Idol, we got a demographic of 18 to 26, let's say, or 18 to 45. In my household, 18 to 44. And this is going to be a whole new generation of people that hear a Journey song that wouldn't typically hear it on the radio. So hint, hint, we want to do it for free. I guarantee you that's how they get their songs. There's no way they're paying royalties for those songs to be sang.
No.
So American Idol is a gig that's just probably making a ton of money. I mean, at the end of the day, when you think about, and I gotta think their viewership is not what it used to be.
I wouldn't think so. They have too much competition now.
Yeah, and I just think it's been done, and people are kind of over it. Um, I gotta think people are kind of just moving on. See, now they're at 6 million viewers. And I would bet you anything, and I'm trying to find it right here, that if you went back to maybe the older seasons, let's see, they get 6 million now. It's the lowest it's ever been last year.
Really?
It actually came in at 4.8 million last year. And I think that's why it was getting canceled. It was canceled from another station or another broadcast. I don't know who had it before, ABC or somebody. And then like another broadcast station bought it because it's probably franchised. A lot of these shows that are like worldwide shows, they're actually franchised. Somebody comes up with the idea and then they sell the idea as a franchise and they say, hey, look, you can have
Yeah,
American
absolutely.
Idol for this much. Yeah. And every year you pay us this much to host it. And you can have the name and the setup and everything else. And so somebody gets paid or a group gets paid a franchise fee to have American Idol. A lot of people don't understand that about television, especially game shows. A lot of it's franchised. Where
Oh
it's,
yeah.
I know that there are some reality shows that started in other countries, and the people who basically created that show will then make it a franchise and sell it to an American broadcasting company and say, hey, look, you pay us $500,000 to have this set up and to use this name. And you pay that every time, every year or for 3 years or whatever. And it's like a franchise fee. And I think it's probably the same thing with American Idol. They probably have a franchise fee on it. But
I would imagine they do.
it's absolutely terrible. I mean, it's so anti rock and roll. It's so anti music to me. It's like the worst thing that could happen to music in reality is that getting into a situation where viewership is picking what's popular and what
Yeah, I mean,
songs are good,
and it becomes entirely about like the singer and not the song.
right.
You know, they're just butchering these songs by jamming 15 notes into it's.
Yeah, like my thing would be like, I think like when I look at when my wife watches it, I'm like, all right, she hates watching it with me. She'll watch it when I'm not around. But if she's watching it, she just so happens to miss her episode and I'm in the house and I'm bitching about, what they're doing. I tend to like when they will sing their own song. And I almost think that American Idol should be that. Like, let's see how good you are as a songwriter because the world needs more songwriters, not really singers.
No.
Because the world has too many singers and very little songwriters. And these small group of songwriters write all these hits now for the radio. So my thing would be like, hey, I want to hear what you can actually write. Let me hear your song. And I think I think American Idol should be about great songwriters and singers. I guarantee you your final 10 or whatever would look a lot different than it normally does.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then you'd be able to see what somebody's writing talent is. And I guarantee you, if they did that and writing talent was part of this competition, that these winners you would know. You would know a lot more
Yeah.
because you'd say, hey, look, this is somebody who can go after all this is over, after they do all the American Idol tours and all this crap. When it's all said and done, these people will probably be able to get a deal somewhere else and write their own music. This whole thing that we're just trying to find the best singer is pointless to me. I mean,
and let's be frank, it's the most common talent there is.
It is, and everybody sings good. Yeah. It's subjective. But is Freddie Mercury? Listen, is Freddie Mercury Freddie Mercury if Freddie Mercury can't write great songs? You probably never hear of Freddie Mercury. Right?
Yeah, who cares?
Right. Is REM if you can't write great songs?
No.
I mean, you have to write great songs. And listen, the world's filled with the music industry is filled. The graveyard is filled with people who wrote that one great song. I get it. but they at least wrote one great song on their own,
Yeah.
you know, and that's a hard row to hoe for a lot of people who can just sing. Is being able, I find the hardest thing to ever do is to sit down and actually write a song and a melody. It is extremely tough to do.
It's a gift. It really is.
You ask anyone
You cannot.
who's a singer, who is a popular singer, and they will tell you, especially like people who are musicians, so many of them say, I don't know how I do it. It's a gift. Something comes down, it enters my body, and I'm able
Right.
to write
Yeah.
this. You hear it so much from popular artists
They're
and
just a
people who have,
transcriber.
right. Like there's something there. I'm not saying that they were asking Eddie Van Halen. They were showing an interview with him before he died. And they were asking, they were like, how are you able to like write a song like Eruption or play the solos you play? He was like, I don't know. I just feel something come through me and I am able to replicate it. And to me, it's not me. I'm like you said, I'm transcribing something from somewhere else. I'm receiving this
Yeah.
and then I'm just able to articulate it into sound. And there's so many people, so many artists that say that, because I do think like special people can write songs and not everybody can. Not everybody can write a
Oh,
song.
and especially melody. I mean,
No, it's so tough. It's so
like,
tough. You know, so they'll push out American Idol, they'll wheel it out on its wheelchair. I don't know how long this show will last. It'll last, sorry, last it way longer than it should. But, you know, and my wife, I think it's had 3 episodes. It was really weird because I saw a little bit of it last year. I can't even tell you who won, but my wife was watching it when I got home from work, and I was like, man, they were doing it all virtually now because nobody with the
oh my
COVID
God.
thing. And I was like, well, this is bullshit. You don't think that anybody's doctoring their sound whatsoever? Nobody at all. I mean, the video production team who's at their home, who's getting the sound from the microphone into the mixer, they're not mixing it. They're not making it sound as good as possible because of the pandemic situation. Of course
Oh
they
yeah.
are, you know? And so it's like, well, you know, what are we doing here? I don't know. I don't know. I just wish it would die.
It's killed music.
It
I wish
has.
all that would just die. The Voice, American
Yeah, that
Idol, all of it
too.
would just
I
die.
can't even tell you people who won the voice. I don't even know any of these people.
And
No,
who cares?
yeah. And if you can't write songs, I don't know. I think it's a
Do you
waste
know any
time.
music fans that watch any of those shows? Serious music fans?
Well, like you said, it is glorified karaoke, is all it is. You're
Yeah.
getting these karaoke people that you got 100 of them, you're narrowing them down to 20, then you're narrowing them down to 10, and you're just picking the best, karaoke singer, and then
That's all it is.
you may find people that through that, a Kelly Clarkson and a Carrie Underwood, who actually can write their own songs, and then they're able, because I guarantee you, Carrie Underwood probably doesn't do shit until she's out of her American Idol contract. She probably does a song that's popular, and then she's like,
Yep.
I'm signing contracts somewhere else. I'm getting out of this shit. And I guarantee you, there are a lot of people that win American Idol that stick with that formula, and they get lost in the shuffle because the very next year they're moving on to somebody else. And it's like, if you're good enough, the right record company or right people are going to see money in you and they're going to invest in you, and that is exactly like 4 or 5 out of 19. So really, what's the success rate of American Idol? It's very low.
It's almost zero,
Yeah.
except for a couple of exceptions.
And they use these 4 or 5 that actually have done anything as their exceptions. Like, this is what you can be. But I'm a person who looks at things as exceptions and say, I don't bet on it. I don't bet on the exception.
No.
I admire the exception. I don't bet on it because it is exactly what it is, and it is the exception to the rule, and it's not the rule, which is why they have 3 or 4 people you've heard of and 16 you haven't, because the exceptions are not the rule. And you may have guys and ladies that get on there and maybe they're great singers, but they end up being glorified, karaoke singers. So death to American Idol.
Death to American Idol, and bring back songwriting and music and invention and melody.
somebody needs to come out and just really like have a mission to save rock and roll. You know, like a band needs to come out and just be like, we're going to save rock and roll. But I don't know if anybody's open to that anymore.
I don't think the record companies are interested in that.
It's so hard to get that merchandised. You know, it's so hard to get it out there to people to hear. You know,
I mean,
we live in a really strange world where anybody can hear anything they want to hear at any time, but it's so saturated that great stuff gets buried. And I think that's a lot of the problem, at least with record companies, to give them some credit. At least they picked through and found these are the bands that we think are going to make money, and we think that they'll be popular. You know, Motley Crue might be a joke now, but when Motley Crue was on Sunset Strip, and Guns N' Roses, record companies were like,
yeah,
they're going to make money. And at least they picked through and found the best of the best. Where now it's just everybody's just fighting the same battlefield with the same weapons, and
same boring weapons.
And it's the same old. Anyway, well, I had fun tonight, Wick. I know we probably got to wrap this thing up. Anything you want to say in closing?
No, let's
pray American Idol dies.
Oh my God, I can't believe it's 19 years later and we're still
talking about it.
Still, it's mind-boggling.
It's sad. That's what it is.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week with something interesting to talk about. I hope we're starting to gain a lot of people. Don't forget, I need to start mentioning this at the beginning of the show, not the end, but don't forget we're on Podbean. So iTunes, everywhere where podcasts are sold, and free to give away. We don't cost anything. I don't even know why I said that, but go check us out. Go download us. Tell your friends, tell your parents, tell your cousins that we're out here. And we'll see what we got next week. Wick, had a good time.
Wonderful.
Yeah, flowed great tonight. It's good to be back in the saddle again. I'll see you next week. I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Yep. I hope everybody has a wonderful time. Be good to each other. I'm Sam. That's Wick. This is the Dukes of Blather.